Throughout the series of the main Pokemon games, there have been quite a few early encounter Pokemon. Early encounter Pokemon consist of Pokemon that can be found on the earliest routes in the game before the first gym. A lot of these Pokemon are seen as weak and aren't really the greatest Pokemon to have on a team. However, there are a few Pokemon that are definitely worth picking up and can be really powerful assets to anyone's team. Today, I will be counting down those powerful Pokemon with the top 5 early encounter Pokemon. Remember that this video is 100% my opinion, and you guys may disagree. If you feel there are more powerful early encounter Pokemon, share them with me in the comment section below. With all that being said though, let's get this list started. Being able to obtain this Pokemon so early on in Black and White 2 seriously makes this Pokemon one of the best early encounters to get. Riolu appears in the Flockacy Ranch literally right before the first gym challenge. The only downside about Riolu is its encounter rate and its catch rate at the ranch. If the player overlooks that though, they are looking to have one of the most powerful Pokemon they can get. Not to mention Riolu literally decimates the first gym. After that though, it doesn't do too bad throughout the remainder of Black and White 2, but hey, it evolves into Lucario, and that itself makes for a promising team member. Despite its hidden ability being Gale Wings, the Big Peck's ability line for Fletchling actually isn't all that bad. Fletchling is still one of the best early bird Pokemon any Pokemon player can pick up. When it evolves into Talonflame, it gets some very powerful attacks right after it evolves. All the player has to do is visit the Mover Learner and it learns Brave Bird and Flare Blitz. Not to mention the Fletchling line has a pretty good matchup with all the gym leaders and does pretty well throughout the playthrough of Pokemon X and Y. This next Pokemon I feel is the best early encounter for Sinnoh. That Pokemon is Starly. Starly comes off as that typical bird Pokemon the player can find on the starting routes of the Pokemon games. In reality though, Starly isn't just that typical underrated bird Pokemon because it evolves into this. Look at Staraptor's stats. These are incredibly amazing. This Pokemon, I have to say, is the strongest out of all the starting bird Pokemon, minus hidden abilities. Not to mention, it gets close combat. What bird Pokemon gets close combat? This move doesn't even have to be taught specially. It learns it via level up, and that attack alone covers the majority of its weaknesses. Staraptor also gets the ability Intimidate, and that can be one of the most useful abilities to have, especially in important battles. By switching Staraptor in repetitive times, any physical attacking Pokemon are basically powerless. So yeah, sorry other bird Pokemon, Staraptor wins this spot. Next to Riolu, this Pokemon's encounter rate is very low, but if the player has the patience to search for it, the Ralts line can be one of the best Pokemon to have on a Hoenn team. I mean, sure, Ralts may be a little hard to train in the beginning of the game because its only starting move is Growl, but with a little switch training, Ralts will begin to annihilate battles left and right. Ralts does very well in the early game and only gets better with progression. By level 26, Kirlia already knows Psychic, and that is a 90 base power attack. After it evolves into Gardevoir though, it gets access to a variety of great moves. However, in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire is where its move pool really begins to shine. The Ralts line in the remix is actually way better than the originals because 1, Ralts are way easier to find, and 2, the player has the choice of either choosing Gardevoir or Gallade. Both of these Pokemon are really great to have for a Hoenn team, plus the fact they both get Mega Evolutions. Yeah, I think the Ralts line is the best early encounter for the Hoenn region. So this number 1 choice is literally the most broken earliest encounter Pokemon. That Pokemon is the Nidoran line. I say it's the most broken because you can literally evolve it into Nidoking or Nidoqueen right after the first gym. That's a final stage evolution Pokemon at level 16. There also is no sense in waiting a little while to evolve it because all the level up moves Nidorino gets are pretty bad. Although Nidoking doesn't get any level up moves besides Thrash and Megahorn, these moves are honestly very good, but the level up moves are only one thing. The moves that it can get via TM are amazing, especially being able to get Dig right after Misty's gym. That attack is a 60 base power attack, and that with the final Nidos can shred. Not to mention the TMs that Nidoking gets access to pretty much cover its own weaknesses, along with most of the gyms in Kanto. Overall though, the Nidos are the best early encounters because of how early the player has access to them, and how they get access to some great moves in the early and late game. Well, that pretty much wraps up the top 5 early game encounters. These Pokemon are all very powerful and can be great assets to any team for their respective regions. What kinds of early encounter Pokemon do you think are powerful though? Share with me in the comment section below. Remember that if you enjoyed this video, to be sure to leave a like and share this video with a friend. With all that being said though, I've been Mystic Umbreon, and I will see you in the future for more Pokemon content.